Once again, you already know what it is and you already know where you have reached. We're a little bit late, but we're just trying to get some last minute pieces to the puzzle in place. It's your boy, Sean Hubbard of Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. To my immediate left, my good friend, my brother, my co host, Conrad Cushman of Everything Pro Wrestling. We are in the building for another big time episode, episode 27. My Knicks have won 9 in a row. That doesn't mean anything towards this show, but I'm just throwing it in there because I feel good about it. And at the end of the day, I hope you guys feel good too. We're going to talk some pro wrestling. Revolution was last night. We're going to get into some AEW stuff. We're going to talk about the history of the Iron Man match and how that matches up to what happened last night between Bryan Danielson and MJF. We got that and a whole lot more coming up right now. My brother Conrad, drop that thing.
Yep.
What up, though?
Absolutely loving it, man. Loving it. Sean, take a step back, bro.
Oh, we got it.
What's the fit, bro? What is that? What is that?
This is the new Hubbard Wrestling Weekly merchandise, hot off the presses. I want to give a big thank you to everybody who has supported. I've gotten 100 new subscribers on YouTube in the last 10 days internationally, and the t-shirt sales were beyond any of my my thought process as far as what I thought would go down. I want to give a big shout out. Yeah, Conrad, I appreciate you. I want to give a big shout out and a massive shout out to Conrad Cushman. He's been very supportive as I've embarked on this new journey with the merchandise. This show has been a major upswing, and I'm so thankful to everybody who listens, to watches this show, who watches my show, who watches Conrad's show. We become a tag team. Big shout out to Derek too, who's my brother Conrad's other tag team partner. People like the Mountie, and there's so many others, man. But I want to give a big shout out to everybody listening. The merch is a big deal. Seeing my logo out there is just really kind of blowing me away in the best possible way. Conrad, I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much.
You don't have to appreciate me. The link is down below if you want to get some merch from either of our stores. Hop right in there. His store is right next to mine now. So when you go down there, both the stores are right next to each other, and it just says we've got some cool merch here with little t-shirt emoji. So if you guys are interested, and you can get more than shirts, you can get yourself a nice cup. Maybe you like to drink a lot of water like me. Get yourself a mug. Who knows? You can get a pillow. Maybe you want to sleep next to the logos. I don't know. Maybe you need a pillow. All right. Do what you got to do. Get yourself some merch. We appreciate everybody who's in here. Derek was the first one in the house saying yo, like this is MTV Raps. I appreciate you, Derek. Shout out to Derek. He's the biggest trios wrestling fan ever since last night. I appreciate it. It made me feel good to hear him have to say that his favorite match of the night was a trios match. As a trios hater that he is, it felt great for him to have to say that.
No doubt.
My guy Joel, listen. I fresh baldy today for you. Put some good aromas on it. I even shaved the sides today, and I never shave the sides.
I got a cut too. Does that count, or are we talking about two different?
No, you're always fresh. See, when I do it, it's you got to see when you look bad and then you upgrade yourself. It goes. You're like boom, boom, boom. You're always just steady. I'm worried if you don't have a fresh cut. I'm worried, Sean. My man Sir Quill's in the chat. What's up, Conrad? What up, Sean? What up, chat? Ready for another episode of Clash of the Podcast? What up, Quills?
Yes.
Much appreciated, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
Much appreciated. Derek saying, Hubs, my guy.
Derek, you become one of my favorites, brother. Appreciate you.
Don't say that to him, Sean. It goes to his head. Eric Douglas, what's up, Eric? Are y'all enjoying Hater's title run? Not as much as I thought I would. I'll explain why. Don't come in here with the harshness. I like Jamie Hater. I'm feeling the title run. How about you, Sean?
I like Jamie Hater as well, and I appreciate Connor. Welcome to the show, my man.
Connor, what up? McKinney in the house. Y'all, I'm here to talk wrestling and let y'all know I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
Yes, sir. What's up? What's going on, McKinney? Welcome.
And last one who is up in here, my man Doug throwing up the hand sign. What up, Doug? Can we get Sean to join the Derek Order? I don't know if the Derek Order is still going strong, man. When the Dark Order was popping, Derek made that shirt. It was selling. I don't know now. Derek's making those moves, though, man. I appreciate him for his designs and everything he has contributed.
Yes.
Matt Lopez in the house. Hello. Good evening, everybody. What up, Matt? Let us get into the show, shall we?
Yes.
By the way, hold on. I got to show some love. We got some more shilling to do. First, I got to show some love to my boys here. Big shout out to Montezi. He does the intro theme for my Dynamite stream. And Montezi works with Swerve the Realist, Swerve Strickland, Rich Latta, who I've also interviewed, producer for a lot of wrestling themes. Rumor has it, you didn't hear this from me, but you might be hearing some of their songs in the AEW video game coming out. Nice. Wink face. Nice. Montezi does Sammy Guevara's theme. You can hear Rich Latta on a lot of these other themes. John Connor used to be signed to Dr. Dre, if you remember him from a few years ago. Always show love. And then we've got some guy from the WWE known as Frank. You might know him as Top Dollar. And we also have Brianna Brandy as well. They just put out a new music video, went up today. Show them some love on Swerve City. They're putting out great stuff. And Sean's putting out great stuff. We got a new Pro Wrestling Legends shirt, the Legend Collection. Sean, tell them about this, baby.
Yeah, man, we're just doing some new funky stuff, man. Some real cool stuff. The vibe is real. Want to show love to all the legends, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, there's some that I probably missed. There might be some in there that you will be like, why are they in there? But I think I got it right for the most part. Pro Wrestling Legends. We got the boxing line coming out. We got the MMA line coming out. It's really good. I've already sold about a handful of shirts of this Pro Wrestling Legends shirt already, and I just dropped it yesterday. So we're calling it the Hubbard Wrestling Weekly Legends Collection. This is the first installment, and hope you guys like it, man. Appreciate you, Conrad.
No, I like that. You know what it gives me vibes of?
What's
No
that?
Mercy. It gives me No Mercy vibes. If you remember the intro from it where all the legends' names were coming across the screen,
Okay.
The Rock, I like that. So
Happy
I'm a big
accident.
fan
I like
of that.
it. Happy accident.
Yes. And he's also got some great ones. As you can see, the shirt that he's wearing, but he also has some affirmations collection as well. I like that he has the names for the collection as well. This is very well thought out.
You're doing it professional, bro. You know what I'm saying? You taught me that with the podcast. I'm just taking it to a new level with the merch.
Get you some.
Yes.
Listen, we're here to talk wrestling, though.
Yes.
And tonight's topics, man, the first one that I kind of wanted to get into, we kind of came to an agreement on some of these, but with this one for sure, I feel like we need to bring this up because I really wanted your opinions on this because I've seen some back and forth Discord across all of the wrestling community with this. Mm-hmm. Dusty Rhodes being involved in the Cody and Roman Reigns storyline.
Right.
Now, you know how I feel. Cody Rhodes' father is one of the greatest of all time. Yes, that is Cody Rhodes' father. You may not believe it when you see it because Cody doesn't look like this. Cody is an in-shape, pretty fit dude. Dusty Rhodes is out here looking like me if I was out there being a wrestler, and I have no issue with that because I think you need diverse characters in wrestling, but Dusty Rhodes was one of the best talkers that you will ever meet. He could excite a crowd. There's a Twitter page, and McKinney knows because we send each other clips from it. No Context Dusty. And Dusty on the promos was one of the best. He would go out there, he'd wind and die with kings and queens and slept in alleyways and ate poking beans. Dusty Rhodes is one of the best. And if you ever remember, he's had great moments with his son, Dustin Rhodes, in WCW. When Dustin and him they were going to team up to be partners, I think, for War Games in like 93, 94. Mm-hmm. One of the best moments, if you've never seen it on Saturday night. Really cool, and I thought that it was great. But when you look at this, how do you feel with the constant involving of Dusty? Because Cody at one point in AEW said, don't bring up my father. He didn't want to talk about his father. He actually hates when people do the impressions. I'm sorry, I can't help but do the Dusty. But
yeah,
Cody,
it's done in love.
Yeah, I know. I think Cody just says he probably hears it every day, and I get it. Yeah. He hears it every day. But what do you feel, number one, about the American Dream himself? And what do you feel about the involvement in this storyline? Is it too much that this is all about Dusty? Because, well, I'll get more into it in a second. Let me get your thoughts first.
Well, I mean, I think we're on a slippery slope, Conrad, and I think you're kind of going down the right path here as it relates to the concern for where this thing could go. I'm going to take it to the extreme because I thought about this all day, and I really dug into it as it relates to some possible comparisons. And I'm kind of comparing it to the Booker T Triple H storyline from 2003. How the heck does that correlate? Well, it was just an uncomfortable situation. Now, that was more uncomfortable, all right? And we all know how Triple H, doing what he did, and then Booker T losing at WrestleMania, and the way he lost at WrestleMania was just completely ridiculous. All three factors just made it unbearable to watch. But you may say to yourself, well, one was extreme, and how does it correlate? Well, from a storyline perspective, they're two completely different things. But I'm just talking about when you go down a road like they're going down with Dusty, now you're kind of pigeonholing yourself, right, Conrad? You're putting yourself in a position where now Cody has to win. Because if Cody doesn't win, not only is Cody falling short, but the legacy of the Rhodes family is falling short because you've involved him so much, God rest his soul, in this narrative. You've really plugged away and plugged away and plugged away at the narrative of Dusty and the legacy and the Rhodes family and Goldust and how the family has never been able to capture that brass ring, even though I consider the NWA World Heavyweight Championship a major brass ring. But in the world of sports entertainment, the WWE is number one. So at the end of the day, you're putting yourself in a bad spot where if Cody loses, what does that say about the Rhodes family? Now, we all know anybody who has halfway decent knowledge of professional wrestling would never talk poorly about the Rhodes family. We all know how good they are. We all know how amazing Dusty was. Once again, God rest his soul. Dustin's a really good wrestler, and Cody is just amazing, right? But if Cody goes to Mania and loses this match, after all the talk about the Rhodes legacy and Dusty and all this, that, and the third, it's not a good look. So my answer to your question is, it's fine as long as Cody wins.
Interesting. We're getting some comments coming in from the chat. Matt Lopez said that he had loved the interaction with Cody, Heyman, and that Roman Reigns segment on Friday. Dusty and Dustin tag at the Clash of the Champions in '94 that led to War Games with Robert Parker crappy his pants. I don't know what that means. Listen,
he's talking about the stud stable. It was the stud.
Was there a segment where that happened?
Dustin, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what it ended up leading to. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you this with Robert Parker. There was something more in them pants than if you ever find out from them shoe interviews they said when he walked around backstage. Wow. They're like, oh, this man. I'm just letting you know. There might have been a hog in them pants. I don't know. That's all I'm just saying. I don't talk bad about Colonel Robert Parker. Sister Sherry was hanging for a reason. That's all. I'm going to just leave it at that.
I hear that.
McKinney says the way they're using him is great, but it can come on kind of thick. But when Cody said, I'm just trying to win a world title and everybody wants to make it personal, made it fit. Now it's got to be on him.
Right.
True. Cody brought Dusty into the story from the start. Roman and Paul are pulling punches. Personally, I think they shouldn't pull. Conrad, you know where I'm coming from. Quills says Cody and Roman Reigns had a really good segment this past on SmackDown. Dusty Rhodes shouldn't be involved in the story. Just keep between Cody and Roman and focus on wrestling. I don't see. The real question is there a better story to tell with Dusty not being in? Because the real story here is, and this is a bad story probably to tell, and this is why they're not going that route. Cody had to leave to become the man to get this done. What does that tell you if you're on this roster and you're stuck in the middle? You need to leave and then come back if you want to be the top dog. And that's crazy to me. That's crazy.
It is, but it's also accurate. It's also accurate unless Vince puts his stamp of approval on you, unless you're a big 300-pound guy and you fit the description and you fit the look. They're not going to give you an opportunity until you go out, i.e. Cody Rhodes, i.e. Drew McIntyre. You got to go ahead, make a name for yourself elsewhere, and then come back. If you want to come back. Now, you know how I feel about people who come back. You tell me I'm not good enough. You're only going to tell me that one time, and you can kiss my tail the rest of the way. But if you choose to come back, maybe you'll end up in the main event of WrestleMania. But then again, maybe you'll end up in the main event of WrestleMania and then lose.
Or maybe you're being used, which is what I feel this situation is. You're the bait. Is Cody the guy if he wins the title, or is it still Roman?
Roman Reigns is still the guy.
That's what I'm saying. You're just bait.
Yep, 100%.
You're bait for AEW, guys. Derek's not a fan. I see in the chat. I will not be putting that comment up, Derek. We will not be tolerating slander at this moment. Let me see here. McKinney said, I love Roman's Dusty impersonation Friday. I want y'all to know that Roman Reigns stuff they're bringing up is kind of true. Dusty told him he was going to be a star. He cut a promo. The rumor is Roman cut a promo in NXT. They were all looking at him like, what did bro just say? And Dusty stood up and was like, that kid is money. Right. He is money. And
but there is one embellishment to the story, though. I don't think
you know wrestling. 80% truth, 20% lie. There's a little lie always in
Dusty
there.
was very fond of his son. Very fond of his son. As a matter of fact, the black sheep, from what I've read, is Dustin.
Yeah, and I think Dustin and him have see, this is a different type of relationship too, and this is where this is getting too personal probably into it, but they have different mothers. You know what I mean? That's like a whole nother.
There's a lot of X factors to it, which we will not get into.
And you know, when Dusty's in his prime, how did Dustin feel versus Cody knew his father as, oh, he was the great old school retired wrestler who he came to all my wrestling meets. He ain't come to Dustin's football game. You know what I mean? It's different.
Right.
So it's all in how you interpret it. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, did his darndest when he went out there to put on a show for people. Some people may not have liked him or appreciated him as a booker when you go through and listen to stuff, but Dusty Rhodes was that man. And I think the next important thing to this story and the wrinkle to this story is, where do we want them to go next from here? We saw the back and forth with these two. Roman Reigns has been built up as an unstoppable monster, and I think the match has to deliver on that level. Do you continue with the Dusty thing? Because, listen, when Cody first came back, the night after WrestleMania, Cody brought up Dusty. He brought up the classic WWF title that he never got. And he saw his dad and he looked sad about it. We know. So it's part of the story. Dusty's always been part of the story. But does Dusty need to continue being part of this story? Or do you think they break away from this and break off? Like, are you happy with the build to this so far for a WrestleMania match, Sean?
Only if Cody wins. Only if Cody wins. It has to lead to a Cody victory. If Cody's going to win, I wouldn't mind if Roman Reigns showed up in a Dusty Rhodes t-shirt. If Cody Rhodes is going to win, I wouldn't mind if Roman Reigns says, you know what, now that your daddy's not here anymore, I'm your daddy now. I wouldn't make it as personal. You know me, Conrad, on and off camera. You know I like personally run storylines.
I'm seeing the who had it on their locker room wall, personal issues draw money. Was it Bill Watts or Mike Graham? One of those two had that up.
And I'm going to take it back, and this is the reason why it correlated to me in 2003. If Booker T wins that match at WrestleMania, I'm fine.
We don't talk about that issue as much as we would today as African-American wrestling fans.
No question.
We would not dwell on this because I was like, yo, Booker T's got to win. As soon as I saw that racist promo, I'm like, he has to win.
It was like, thank you, Conrad. It was like, Booker T has to win. So that's the thing. Unfortunately, he didn't, and that will always live in infamy in my mind and yours. But again, Cody Rhodes, Roman can get as dirty and ugly as he wants to, but Cody has to win. He has to win.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We got some interesting questions coming in, and I fully agree with that. I have no issue with the Dusty because it was brought up, but I saw some interesting discourse on the back and forth on what should be the focal point and whatnot. Okay. What do you guys think of Logan and Cena on Raw tonight? Should be exciting. Yeah, I did have pictures for it here. There you go, Sean. There you go.
I mean, you know how I feel about John Cena. I've come to respect him. He is one of the greatest of all time. I put him on the shirt. I debated about whether I was going to put him on the shirt. But He's one of the best ever, and I think he's coming back, and I think he wants to do right by Austin Theory. I think it would be cool if he won the title and then lost it back to Theory, maybe next pay-per-view or something like that, if he could stick around for a month. But I have no problem with John Cena. I do have a problem with Logan Paul.
Logan Paul. We'll see what they do tonight. It's time, man. It's WrestleMania build time. You got to get people excited. And I'll say this. I mean, we might as well just stick on WrestleMania here for a second.
Yeah, sure.
Last week, I don't know how you felt, Sean, but I think you kind of described it beforehand. All emotion was taken from me when I'm like, they're really going with Brock Lesnar versus Omos. The dude who they have no build with, because Brock Lesnar refused to lose to Bray Wyatt. So last week I was like, yo, if Bray doesn't do it for me by Mania, I may have to back. This dude may be, I call it Dolph Ziggler. Like, I'm done. I'm done caring. Like, whatever you do, I don't care. But now I'm starting to think, is it his fault? Is he not getting what he was promised? He came in under Triple H with a lot of hype and everything else. And they said they were building towards something. They brought in a Marvel, like, long story threaded writer to help book all this. And what ends up happening is the story seems like it's going, right. Nope. And he has no clear direction. Why is Bobby Lashley his target? This makes no sense. He's on the opposite show of you.
Makes no sense at all. I loved it when he came out and said he was challenging the winner. He said it in Bray Wyatt language, but when he said he was challenging the winner, I was fine with that. And I'm not going to lie, as much as I like Bobby Lashley, I was cheering for Brock Lesnar because it was like, yes, Brock and Bray, that's WrestleMania worthy. But then it turns out to be Lashley, and it's like,
you know what that means?
Well, yeah, that was a good idea.
That was a good idea.
I wasn't even thinking that this time. You took it there. Thank you, bro. Yeah, it was like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And now we're talking about Omos being plugged in, which I think is just a ridiculous. I mean, it's questionable to me if Omos should even be on the card, much less wrestling Brock Lesnar. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. I mean, we have Roman and Cody. I'm sure, even though I'm not really happy about Seth Rollins and Logan Paul, I know that's going to be a banger because they're both really athletic guys. Obviously, I'm not happy about it, but you know that KO and Sammy are going to face the Usos, which is going to be a banger. But this is going to be a clunker. And if I were Brock Lesnar, I'd be disappointed that I'm going to WrestleMania to do another clunker because he's had about 4 WrestleMania clunkers so far in his career. And I was there for one of them, WrestleMania 20.
I hear you. McKinney says a lot is true, but the false about his love for Cody can cause someone to get cussed out for not catching Cody on a moonsault. That's my baby boy, and you missed. I can't think of the wrestler. I'm not sure about that story right there. But Dusty loved Cody, man. He got him in. Cody didn't have to do as much work as others had to, but I'm sure Cody had to go through the ringer too because he was Dusty's kid. Matt Lopez says Booker T should have won that match. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yep.
Yo, McKinney, I can't even front. Hold on, I gotta put this picture up with this. Yo, John Cena is starting to look like Ernest.
Yo, that's accurate, McKinney. Wow.
Yeah, he's starting to. That's a little old school Ernest, but he's got that Ernest going to him.
That's crazy.
McKinney, people are dying at that.
Yeah.
Logan and Cena should be exciting on Raw depending on what they do and where they go. I mean, I think their matches are set. They just got to build them up now.
Yeah, I think we all know.
B-Boy Skyline said Logan needs some good lawyers for which thing? The crypto or something else? Brock Lesnar versus Omos is trash in all caps. Why is this happening? Sean knows. I mean, we know. Listen, bro. Vince McMahon is still in charge, bro. Brock called his boy up. He was like, the guy he threatened to quit over. He was like, yo, I'm not wrestling this. Why would Brock do this? Number one, I can go out there and get my match done early. Yeah, open the card with me and him. Oh, I could just F5 him and beat him, and that's it? I want someone who's not going to want to do all that John Moxley, Dean Ambrose. When Dean Ambrose was like, dude, can you at least, like, do something to me? No, we're not doing that. Why did I agree to wrestle you? Like, why is this happening then? You're just going to destroy me? That's it? And we go home.
He's got that Hogan 96 contract.
Yeah, man. He does what he wants and keeps it moving. I wish Lesnar would go out there because he's a super athletic freak. I don't know if people like have ever seen old school Lesnar. If not, go watch. The dude can wrestle. He can go. He chooses not to. I mean, obviously it's brains, but at the same time, if you could put on a better show once in a while, give it to us when the match calls for it. Brock was like, I ain't fighting no puppets. Oh my gosh. Logan Paul brings in the non-wrestling people. They have used celebrities every year. Paul is better than Trump or Shatner.
I mean, to clarify, I think Logan Paul's an excellent worker. He clearly loves the business. He respects it. I have no problem with Logan Paul as a human being and as a competitor. I just think that WrestleMania slots are precious, absolutely precious. And while there's people on the roster that don't get to go to WrestleMania out of the sake of Logan Paul being there, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right for Cena. I don't think it's right for The Rock. I don't think it's right for any of these guys, these part-time guys. Austin did an interview. He was talking about it for last year. He was like, listen, I'm doing it because I love the business. I'm doing it because I believe in the Kevin Owens situation, but I respectfully don't want to take anybody's spot. He hemmed and hawed about that for a long time before he decided to write on the dotted line.
Years.
So, well, yeah. Thank you for clarifying. Exactly, a long time. So that's what I'm saying.
Punk wanted that match. Everybody wanted that Punk match. Do you remember the video game face-off they did, where it was like for the Attitude Era?
Yes.
When Jim Ross narrated that, I wanted that match so bad. I'm like, dude, that would be so good. Austin drinks beer, Punk doesn't. Punk's the champ. Man, I was like, if you let Punk heal it up on him a little bit, that would be money.
There was a time. I'm a wrestling historian. You guys know that. WrestleMania 1. Ali, God rest his soul, the greatest ever. He was a referee. I'm cool with that. WrestleMania 3, Bob Uecker, he was an announcer. WrestleMania 5, it was who was at WrestleMania 5? WrestleMania 5, it was, I can't even remember. WrestleMania
Trump
5.
Towers one. I know Trump was there.
Yeah, Trump was. I'm drawing a blank. I'm drawing a blank. But my point is, I love it when entertainers and celebrities are involved. Even Trump. I'm not going to talk about Trump. My feelings on Trump will not be echoed on this show. You can see my face. All right, but I'm going to leave it alone. But Trump was a manager. I'm fine with that. WrestleMania 23. You shouldn't have guys wrestling matches at WrestleMania when there's guys in the locker room who are breaking their backs all year. Conrad, are you feeling me on this?
I understand completely with it. I think that there's room for these guys to be involved in matches, but I don't want it to take over the whole event as well. Like you said, right now we're at the point of we have like 2 or 3 of these matches now. It used to be 1. When Lawrence Taylor fought Bam Bam, I was cool with that. That's different. Okay.
Shouldn't have been the main event, but it was cool.
Yeah, well,
HBK and Diesel should have been the main event.
This was a topic we almost talked about, and I held off on it. I'm gonna hold off on it again.
We can run it back another day.
No, but there's a reason why I think that had to main event that show.
Okay. Save it.
Look at the card. Look at the card. Let me see here. Logan Paul brings in non-wrestling people. Does he?
That's true.
Maybe. I'd have to see the numbers to prove that, Doug. And I'm not saying you're wrong about that, but I'd like to see it. When the crowd finally accepted that Brock and Omos was going to happen, the groan from the crowd TV didn't make TV. I was there. Ooh.
You were there? Yeah. So it must have been bad. I don't think you're lying, McKinney. I bet you it was bad.
Yeah. Because I'm not gonna lie, there were a lot of people online dogging the city last week. Derek included, but when we were talking about it, I was like, well, Derek, what did they have to get loud for? That last week's show was not good, in my opinion. They had nothing to get loud for. Matt Lopez says Omos doesn't belong on WWF Free for All. Here we go. Here we go with this.
Nice.
No, John Cena puts Austin Theory over at WrestleMania because Cena doesn't need the win.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, Ace. I'm just trying to say it would be nice if Cena stuck around for a month. If Cena's going to stay, he could win, and then Austin Theory could win it back the next month. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, come kick it for a little bit. I think Cena's coming back too early. See, this feels like his remember when Rock came back at like WrestleMania 20 and stuff?
Yes.
That's the point. I feel like he still has a contract and they can call him. Like, I'm letting you do all this stuff because out of the kindness of, we'll just say Vince's heart or whoever's looking at the contract, and they're like, I can call you anytime I need you. So let's work together on these
Rock
things.
in 2004, Rock came back 2 weeks prior. He came back to save Foley 2 weeks before, and then This Is Your Life Part 2 was the week before. So you're saying 2 weeks is a good. Now this is only 3 weeks, Conrad. It's not that. Or is it 4 weeks?
I think they got a month, so let's round it off at 3.
Okay, so you're saying it's a little bit too early for your taste?
Actually, 1. So wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's 4.
So it's definitely probably too early. Yeah. Okay.
I'm okay with it. Like, see, with Rock back then, you could get away with a couple weeks because Rock was such a mega star.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know with this. I need a reason to care for Cena. I need something to sink my teeth into with this a little bit more.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens for this. Derek, we're not repeating that Captain Spaulding until we get to AEW. Doug said Lunch Lady Sloppy Joe match for Mania. Don't give them any ideas, bro. We have a Cinnamon Toast Crunch match coming. I don't know who's gonna get that, but that happens every year for celebrities. I by no means am a follower of his, but I know he has a draw. Okay, for Logan Paul. You want WrestleMania celebrity match that'll bring in viewers and revenue? Book Logan Paul versus Bad Bunny then. I think, Sean, you'd be more okay with that, right? 2 celebrities wrestling each other.
That wouldn't bother me as much as him taking a match with Seth Rollins.
Or you could even do the Pete Rose thing, like you said. Like for 3 years, that was the running gag. Pete Rose was the San Diego Chicken. He would get chokeslam, tombstone. He'd get jacked up every year.
It was fun.
Yeah. At least Cena shows up, unlike people cough cough the Rock, cough the People's Champ. XFL, baby.
That's true. I guess it is what it is.
McKinney said, thank you to me. I've been defending the city all week. We had a few moments, but even between commercials, what the live crowd got was mid. But I have a theory on crowds sitting on their hands. I mean, there's nothing. When it's bad, it's bad. Listen, I live in Buffalo, bro. Sean lives in New York City. I'm going to take a second and be real about wrestling crowds. Sean lives in the mecca of pro wrestling annals and history and time for the most part. I know Chicago fans are getting mad. Boston fans are getting mad. Texas, Cali. I don't mean any disrespect, but we know Vince McMahon saw his side of town, the mecca of wrestling. Right. They love it out there. I'm from Buffalo. I would be one of those fans in New York, and I would go crazy for all that stuff. But I live in Buffalo, so when I go to the event, you know what I get? I don't get Shawn Michaels versus Sid. You know what I get? I get the British Bulldog versus The Undertaker on a house show. And I'm like, yo, what is this, dog? Why am I not getting the good matches? And I understand that. There's a reason for that. And maybe that's the same thing. But I think the better show for you, McKinney, will be when you go to SummerSlam. If you go to the one that's going to be out there, it was Michigan, I believe they were at last week. So go to that show, and you'll be surrounded more by people who will want to be loud and travel there to go there. That's the best advice that I could give you for seeing a good show. Now, you want to transition, or do you have some more? I got a bloodline picture here. If you wanted to talk about your boy Jey Uso,
let's do it.
You got some Jey Uso thoughts, or do you want to talk Iron Man?
I think we can go into Jey Uso briefly and then go into Iron Man.
Go ahead, I got it up for you.
I just like I said, we've talked about this a lot, and it doesn't get old. Thank God, it's a really cool storyline. But I think they're going to go the route that Conrad predicted, that you predicted, Conrad. And I just think that the way it's going to work out is going to be status quo. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm going to be a lot more brief this time than I have in the past because there's no reason to continue repeating myself. You have the chance to make Jey Uso a main event guy, like really main event Jey Uso. Yes, it took place in the bubble or the Thunderdome in 2020. We're not talking about that. We're talking about we can have Jey Uso literally be the man. If they chose to, but they're not going to choose to. They're going to have Jey Uso go against what I want him to do, which is turn on Roman Reigns. And instead he's going to fall back in line with the bloodline, which is going to lead to the tag team titles being on the line against Sami and KO. I just, under normal circumstances, I would have signed up for that any day of the week. It's a really good match on paper, especially with the ascension of Sami Zayn over the last year. But I just think you have potential to make a big step. That's pretty much what it's all about for me. Whether it was Jey Uso, whether it was Joe Blow, Mary Sue, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're on the doorstep of making a brand new star. Jey Uso can be a major star. Jey Uso can change the face of the industry. Jey Uso can become a player. He's right there on the doorstep, but for some reason they're going to push it back. And that's what WWE lacks for me, Conrad. I think WWE has been on the doorstep a few times. They've been on the doorstep with Dolph Ziggler. They've been on the doorstep for many guys, but unfortunately, they just decide to, let's just keep it status quo. Even though you heard Jey Uso get a pop just for standing in the... Jey Uso didn't even do anything in Montreal. He got in the ring and he stood there and just stared at Roman Reigns. And the crowd was going insane. What more do you need? But they're going to have him fall back in line with the bloodline. It's going to lead to a tag team title match. And we're going to go back to status quo. So I've kind of put my mind at ease with it. I've kind of given up on my dream, even though technically, Conrad, my dream is still alive because no decision's been made yet. But I think what you said is going to happen.
I still stand by it, and I always have. But with what you're saying, I can see the frustration, though. Like what you just said, laid it out, and it clicked kind of in my head, too. They've had the opportunity to make stars, and when it's right there in front of you, and you can do it if you just put some work into it and change it. But It goes back to your classic phrase, WWE, it sounds like a good idea.
You know what that means.
Right? Matthew Holland joining us, talking about some beef and stew. I don't know if that's what's for dinner or if you smell what The Rock is cooking, but we appreciate that, Matt. And we are doing well here. So please show some love if you enjoy. Subscribe. Check out Hubbard Wrestling Weekly if you're a fan of combat sports and boxing and pro wrestling as well. He's got you covered, so make sure you give him a follow on his social medias. We have those up here as well for you guys. But we're going to transition into talking about the Iron Man match and the historical significance. Now, Sean brought this idea up, and I thought it was a better idea than what I had. So, Sean, take it away, my friend.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's fresh on everybody's mind. Last night at Revolution, we had a really good Iron Man match between Bryan Danielson and MJF for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I think it's one of those things where you just get nostalgic when a match like that takes place. Obviously, there's only been 18 to my recollection, WWE Iron Man matches in history. If you count all the 30-minute ones as well, which I don't really, but I mean, that's to each their own. And it just got me thinking about the history of the match and how it's come to be one of the more, I guess, I don't want to say popular because I wouldn't put it in the popular category, but I would put it in the most respected category. Going 60 minutes guaranteed is a big road to hoe as it relates to endurance and being able to put on an entertaining match for that amount of time. We all know the very first one took place on pay-per-view. On pay-per-view, the first one took place at WrestleMania 12. But a lot of people don't realize that the very first Iron Man match, it wasn't under that name, but a match where there was an hour time limit, an hour guaranteed time limit, that is, and the winner was the winner who got the most falls in that 60 minutes was Bret Hart versus Ric Flair in January of 1993 at a house show in the Boston Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Bret Hart was successful in that match as he was the world champion and successfully defended against Ric Flair, who was on the way out of the company going back to WCW.
Dude, you just taught me something there.
Yeah, I do my research, bro. And then the second one wasn't even Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12. The second one was Bret once again. Bret Hart and Owen Hart, his brother, in the summer of 94, before SummerSlam. It was right after the 4th of July. I believe it was July 7th or 8th at a live event in Jersey. Owen Hart was unsuccessful in his attempt to get the title back. He also lost the match 3 falls to 2. So we had 2 Iron Man matches, and a lot of times WWE and professional wrestling organizations in general like to do test runs at live events. That's a little fun fact for you, Conrad, and everybody out there. WrestleMania 8, Hogan and Flair was the original main event, and obviously Hogan had some situation with the steroids. But the real reason, besides that they decided not to go that route, is because they did a test run at Madison Square Garden, and the response wasn't that great. So they decided to do a little bit of a turn in addition to the steroid situation. But I digress. And then you got to the first ever pay-per-view televised Iron Man match, which was HBK, and once again Bret Hart. So Bret Hart was in the first 3 Iron Man matches. So I'll let you go, Conrad. But yeah, there's a lot of historical significance. Some of the greatest wrestlers to ever do it have participated in that match. And you have to be one of the greatest and have the most endurance to be able to pull off an entertaining match for an hour.
Do you remember your first Iron Man match?
Remember? I did not watch it live. I saw Bret HBK on video cassette. Yes.
Okay. I ordered that one, and I remember it. And I'll tell a funny story here in a second. Hopefully my brother doesn't listen to this after, though. The first one I remember seeing built up, though, I'm going to WCW a little bit, as you can see. Mm-hmm. And I love the look of this. But it was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus He's Simply Ravishing.
Ow!
That's my jam, bro.
Yes,
that's my jam.
Yes,
that's a weightlifting song. Rick Rude. I love this. Rick Rude went and he had something to prove when he was in WCW. Him and Ricky Steamboat, I thought, were in the best shape that they were ever in. They could pull this off, and they went out there and they delivered a great Iron Man match. But when you look at the history of these types of matches, and I put them up here real quick for some of them, the 60-minute ones at least, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels is kind of special to me. A lot of people say it's an overrated Iron Man match, and as a Shawn Michaels fan, I won't argue it too badly with if somebody said that. But when I saw this match, I thought it was really good at the time. Like, for what it was in 1996, I thought it was great wrestling. They did their thing. Is it fun to look
at? Theory though about what could have been a little tweak that would have made the match better?
Oh, I think if you take out the Iron Man match stipulation and they just wrestled for 60 minutes, yes, that could have been crazy if you just said there's an hour-long time limit for this match. But Vince doesn't. I think he never liked the time limit thing like in WCW, and I love that with like the TV title and all that. When you would hear like there's 5 minutes left in this match, and then you see people start like getting on the move, like I gotta try to win this quickly. They never did it, so I just thought that match could have been a lot better if they would have did that. So we ordered that pay-per-view, and let me just say this story. My brother was the biggest Bret Hart fan as kids. He had the Bret Hart action figure. He was sitting there with me watching it, and I was like, oh, let me get the Shawn one. I was like, Shawn's going to finally do this. He was like, nah, no one's better than Bret. He's the excellence of execution. They're out there wrestling. I see the draw. He sees the draw. And we're like, oh, no. And he was like, they were like, Bret keeps the belt. Bret's going up the ramp. Here comes Gorilla Monsoon. Oh, what's he about to say? This match will go to sudden death. And you can see Bret mumbling like, this is BS. This is hot garbage. Bret gets back into the ring. Wham! First super kick. He's down. I was like, oh, he's got to make the pin. He can't. He's too tired. But then when that second one hit, the pinfall, I can remember how Bret's legs were. 1, 2, 3. My brother said he hated me. He threw the action figure at me right in the mouth. Boom! Caught me right in the mouth, and I was still happy. I didn't care. I was just like, come on, bro. Come on. My brother, to this day, we laugh about that, but he loved Bret Hart so much back then that he couldn't believe that he lost to Shawn Michaels. He just
I'm going to be a heel, and I'm going to say that was a bunch of crap, man. It was announced as a 60-minute match, right? Bret Hart was the champion. Now, in any other wrestling situation, the draw goes to the champion, right? So how come that was a conspiracy, man? That's not fair.
Listen, man, Gorilla Monsoon wouldn't set him up like that. It had to go down that way. Maybe Jose Lothario passed him a couple bucks. I don't know what happened.
Yes, the conspiracy theory lives on, bro.
You know what? I really love how they set up that match. One of my favorite spots from that match as a kid was the super kick to, was it Chimmel?
Yes, it was.
The super kick to Tony Chimmel on the outside. I thought that was so unique because I was like, they just super kicked the ring announcer. What? Why did that happen?
Was it just me, or did he really get Chimmel good?
Oh, he probably did. You know, they
it looked
pulled
like he
pranks
got
back
him
then.
real good.
Yeah, Tony Chimmel went down like a ton of bricks after that, and I thought it was really well done how they laid that match out. I don't. Is it one of your favorites, or do you hate it? Like, how do you feel about that match going back now, thinking about it?
I don't. Ironically, Conrad, I don't hold it in such high regard. I know it's a classic. I'm almost embarrassed. Yeah, I'm almost embarrassed to say that. Maybe that makes me a guy that's not real big Iron Man guy because I don't know, but in the same breath, I think Rock and Triple H did well. I don't know. It's just it doesn't resonate with me the way it does with some, bro. Like I don't know.
Another man named Conrad put it best once. You're basically sitting there for 55 minutes of nothing, and all you really need to see is the last 5 minutes of this match.
Right. That's true.
So, but I think it can be fun if you do it. I'm hearing people say Danielson MJF is the greatest Iron Man match of all time. Maybe that's recency bias creeping in, but they're saying that it's good, and I thought it was very well paced.
It was.
Rob, why you bringing up stuff, bro? That never was said. I didn't hear it as a kid. I didn't hear him say that. He wanted to say the boyhood dream had come true. All right.
Shawn Michaels is my greatest wrestler of all time for more reasons than HBK. Thank you for bringing that up. I always call him AB. What's his brother's name?
Rob.
Big shout out to Rob. I appreciate the quote. But I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a background about me. 2 minutes. HBK, I do think is the greatest in-ring performer of all time. But for me, the fact that Shawn Michaels was such an a-hole. I mean, such an a-hole, right? I mean, really an a-hole. And turned his life around and became a really, really nice guy. That's also why I love Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels had a career change. Shawn Michaels had a life change. And I'm not going to preach to you guys, but when Shawn Michaels got God into his life and changed his life and got more about family, I mean that's a good story, man. I respect Michael Hickenbottom for that. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right. And McKinney brings up a good point here. He said Iron Man matches are best suited for wrestlers who can tell the best in-ring stories. Wrestling that doesn't need any gimmicks and just pure wrestling. I think that's why it works so well in New Japan. If you remember the Okada, Kenny Omega 60-minute draws, that's why it works so well because they're telling a great in-ring story. Quill says Bryan Danielson should be the new AEW champion right now, but sadly that's not the case once again due to MJF's clownery. Who's up next? Hangman Page or who else? It could be. I think Page is definitely one of the people that they can consider, and we're going to get into that momentarily. That match is where Shawn made his entrance via zip line. This was one of my very first wrestling memories as a 4-year-old. Yes, he was up there dancing. Brett versus Shawn was the first I ever saw and kind of set the standard, but I know the territory has done it too. That overtime call was thumbs up, and there must be a winner. Yeah, right. Listen, I think that match would have been better if they even did it 2 years later. I just think during that time there was a style of wrestling you wrestled, and Brett and them were just doing, oh, we're going to pull the arm back. We're going to do a headlock. They were trying to wrestle a technical style, like we're trying to beat each other in a athletic competition because we're both baby faces. I think it just doesn't translate well into today's world. But Brett and Shawn are two of the best performers of all time. You know what I mean? I think it's just you have to have a taste for it. When I watched it live, I don't feel the way that I do now when I go back and watch it. I just
think they need to switch it up. I think every Iron Man match we've ever seen has started off very slow, and I know they have to pace themselves. But to me, I'm thinking of Goldberg just because it's a sudden move. I don't like Goldberg, but give me a spear in the first 10 seconds. If you're Roman Reigns, give me a spear in the first 10 seconds. If you're Shawn Michaels, give me a super kick in the first 10 seconds. If you're MJF versus Bryan Danielson, give me a running knee in the first 10 seconds. Get everybody excited in the first, because last night they did the same thing, and again they fought a heck of a match, right? But last night they walked around for 4 minutes. MJF was throwing water on people in the crowd, which by the way was very uncomfortable for me to watch. Just throwing it out there. Huh?
Rumor has it that it was an alcoholic beverage. I don't know if it was tequila or something else.
Yeah,
but
not cool. Not cool. There's being a heel and there's being an idiot, and we can't allow stuff like that. But anyway, give me something dramatic in the first 10 seconds. You can slow it down. I know you have to pace yourself. There's going to be headlocks and arm bars in a 60-minute match, but give me something crazy. And that's what I think all Iron Man matches lack, bro. I think when you're asked to go 60 minutes, you're going to have lulls, and there's a possibility it could get boring.
I'm going to need the historians to remind me. I feel like that never happened in the Iron Man match with Triple H and Rock. I feel like they wrestled that Attitude Era style throughout the entire thing.
I'm saying this very low so people don't want to throw tomatoes at me. That's why I consider Rock Triple H the greatest Iron Man match of all time.
No, bro, hold on. I'm about to co-sign. That's a great Iron Man match.
Okay.
There's a lot of hoopla in there and mixery. The finish, you know what I mean? A little bit of like, okay, why'd you do that? But with the last few seconds, you were into it. The way they did it, but I thought it was really fun.
People, Conrad, that I think H versus Rock was the best Iron Man match of all time. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, just think about think about it. That's all. Just think.
I think the style worked for them back then, though, where they could go through the crowd. There's no count outs. You know what I mean? Like you can get away with a lot of that stuff. With Danielson and them, Danielson wanted to wrestle. Like he's Ring of Honor. Like he's from you're gonna be on this mat for a long time. There's gonna be a lot of sweat and dirt on this bad boy. Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. That's one of my favorite cardio ones to watch. Yeah. Wrestling machines. I'd say them and Michaels and Bret Hart. You could tell got into shape for those matches.
Absolutely.
Like Kurt and Brock were just always in shape, and they wanted to do that. It was just a test of wills, and they were so good at the time. And the one I don't like too much is Randy Orton, John Cena with like the pinfalls, and then you got to wasn't that the one where you had to wait and let him get up?
Yes. Yeah.
I did not like that. I preferred how AEW did it last night, where it was like you can pin anytime. The match continues no matter what.
The greatest Cena Orton match and the Cena Orton moment only needed 1 second, and that's No Way Out. Before WrestleMania 24, John Cena couldn't wait for his title shot at WrestleMania, so he got it early, and Randy Orton got himself disqualified by slapping Mike Chioda in the face. That will forever be the greatest. If you haven't seen it, Google it, YouTube it. Cena versus Orton, NWO, No Way Out. Cena is about to lose, and he slaps Chioda in the face and gets him disqualified, and the crowd went crazy.
I love it. Let me see here. An Iron Man match, your cardio as well as your in-ring skills have to be immaculate. Otherwise, it doesn't work, period. I agree. You have to have the right people for an Iron Man. Matt Holland said, I wanted Sarray to win the AEW Women's Championship. We're going to get into that in a second.
Yes.
McKinney says, rewatching the Iron Man match is like watching The Sixth Sense again, knowing the twist at the end. So
I get the analogy.
Matt Lopez says Rock versus Triple H Iron Man is underrated. I talked to a lot of people who appreciate that match. So like when Sean said it, I think he's one of the people that knows. Like, listen, people say Brett and Sean is overrated, but then the Rock Triple H one is some people's favorite.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong. I think it's a really good match that people should check out. Rob says, how do you think in an all-out blood-fueled brawl for 5 to 10 minutes to start an Iron Man match would work? It wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work, but you could have one finisher in the first minute of a match.
Because I'm trying to think.
Like I said,
if you do that,
it has to be psycho, bro.
You're going to bring the low points in the middle. Maybe that could work. You get the fans into it. Then you start doing your wrestling moves, chain it up, lay down for a little bit, get some pinfalls, mix them in there. Yeah. It's a test. You can always test it. And I think you have to try something new in these matches all the time.
We're not being unrealistic over here. We're not saying that there should be, the match should end 20-19 with wall-to-wall action for all 60 minutes. Not at all.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring up NXT TakeOver Respect, Sasha and Bayley.
As you should.
Iron Woman match. I thought this was a classic as well. Look at where Sasha couldn't grab her hand for the bank statement. One of my favorite spots is where Bayley is stomping the hand so that she can't lock it in, and she defeats her. It's so great. It's so good, man. I think an Iron Man match telling the right story works.
It does. It does.
It works. Revolution, Sean. Unless do you have anything more you want to add to
No,
the
no, we can go
significance
into
of this?
Revolution. We can go into that B minus show that took place last night.
Wow, is that how you feel? Is that how you really feel?
I do. I do. We can go into
Wow.
that. We can go into that 6C plus B minus show that took place last night.
The slander cannot go. The slander
I'm
is.
being real with you, bro.
I like this show a lot.
I can
I
tell
didn't
by
think it
your
was a bad
reaction.
match on
I
the
can tell
card.
by your show that you did last night. By the way, every Wednesday night, go to the APW channel for Dynamite reviews. Last night he did a Revolution review with Derek. I could tell that you liked the show last night, but I didn't. I thought it was okay.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to go through each match? What do you want? What do you want? Do you want just overall thoughts?
Yeah,
What
we
you
can just
didn't
go
like?
overall thoughts, man. There was some things that stood out. I really enjoyed the Ruby Soho turn. I predicted that. A lot of people predicted that. I think that she did what she was supposed to do. I like the whole outsiders thing that they have with Saraya and Tony Storm. It makes sense. Maybe you'll have somebody who's an outsider who will turn again, or maybe not turn, or maybe there'll be a surprise of who may turn and align with who. I don't think the alignment, people aligning with people in this storyline, is over. I don't. I think there's more people coming out. I think you brought up somebody that you thought was going to go with Britt and Hayter.
Jay Cargill is my pick. I think she'll be the last person who goes over there, though.
Okay.
I think there's room for Athena with Saraya on that side. I think Athena can end up joining them. I think she's been putting in good work. I know a lot of people are like, oh, bring in Naomi, bring in Mercedes Moné. If you got to stick, if you're not getting either of them and you can stick with who's been there this whole time and who deserves it, I'd say Athena. She's put in the work. She's gotten some flack from people. Why are you doing this? Why are you wrestling like this? You're hurting people. Why are you hitting so hard? And it's like other people hit hard and no one complains. So I say give it to her. And I think Jay Cargill can stand out and kind of be the savior of the other team. That, what do I want to call it? The proverbial X factor. When they put that person on the team, it's like, okay, game changer, blood and guts. Now you can do it. Boom.
Where does Britt Baker go from here? She's kind of getting lost in the shuffle, man.
I think they've put it on pause, but I think Britt Baker's going to turn on Jamie.
Okay.
Eventually, but not now. I think now you kind of got to keep them together so that you can show like Britt's still tough, Britt still got it. But before, you would see, pay attention to those interviews sometimes. Britt gives the little odd eyes, like she's looking at the belt, or she's like, okay, you want to talk to me? Or Britt was taking over the mic time, kind of like, yeah, and when we get out there, we're going to do this, this, and this. And it's like, well, she's the champ.
Yeah, good point. A little bit of underlying jealousy there that you can't really pick up on all the way unless you're really looking for it.
Right? Yeah. Just gotta go with that. Quills brings up a match I know you weren't fond of. Some people may agree or may disagree with me, but my match of the night for Revolution was Moxley Hangman Page, point blank period. Oh, you picked the wrong guy to bring this up to. Sean was not a fan.
I hope they never wrestle again. I am so over this. It's not even funny, bro. They did wrestle. They did a good job last night. It was a bloodfest. They did good. But my God, man, I am so bored by these guys. This is corny now. It's like last night was like Moxley Page 47. Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, not Moxley Page 3, not Moxley Page 4. It was Moxley Page 47. I am sick and tired of them continuing to. AEW has that problem. They give us matches over and over and over. That's real WWE, bro. Real WWE.
Ooh, I don't feel that same way about those matches. I can't tell you too many matches that they kept running back like that, other than maybe like Cody and Sammy when they were trading the TNT title.
Okay. We can agree to disagree, bro. I'm just saying. I think AEW is starting to. It's getting a little predictable.
Predictable's not bad. Like I said, you want a surprise? I got a dog who can come and show you a surprise. Right on the floor. Surprise.
Oh my God. I mean, come on, man. It's like, give me a break. Okay, yes. How many times? I mean, we know Moxley's a tough guy, and Page is a tough guy, and the concussion storyline, and they're bleeding again, and here comes the barbed wire that doesn't really cut anyone, because if it cuts you in the face, how come it's not cutting you on the hand when you wrap it around the hand to punch somebody with it? It's like, come on, man. Like, enough is enough. Like, give me a. I'm tired of this crap, man. It's like, okay, Mox and Paige, if they are in the ring together on Wednesday, I swear I'm gonna lose my crap, man.
No, I think this show was a lot of ending of feuds. Someone just brought up a match that I want to talk about. Lopez said that was a brutal and Mox needs a vacation. I'm with Hub. Thumbs up. I gave it a B plus. No build. Jungle Boy match didn't get good till the end. I don't agree with that. I thought Jungle Boy and Christian's match was really fun. Christian, number one, the man wrestled in it wasn't a buried alive. What did they call it? A last burial. Yeah, in a turtleneck, bro. Sean, when's the last time you wore a turtleneck, bro? I know you had them South Pole joints with the chain.
My mother forced me to wear a turtleneck when I was 11.
Listen, I used to rock those joints in high school. I don't care. They were good at hiding things if you had anything on your neck. So listen, used to rock that joint with the little chain. Christian went out there and cut the sleeves off one. He had the tactical neck on. It was fire. I loved that match. And I thought the visual effect was so much cooler. It was video game-esque, and they did it in person. Christian went in. He slammed the lid. Boom! He just dropped down like he was on a roller coaster, and then smoke popped up. That's way better than you're sitting there with a shovel.
While you finish your thought, keep going. But I leave McKinney's comment up there because I have more to talk about. He hit the nail on that on everything. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to keep bringing it up. And he better than shoveling dirt on somebody. Or imagine telling Mick Foley, I'm going to need you to take this bump off the SmackDown stage as you go slide into a grave. Come on, man. Like, that's just crazy to me. He said that it didn't get good till the end. Tag match was especially adding OC and Danhausen was a no for me. But I saw why they did it now. It was so that Danhausen could take the pen so you don't ruin the Acclaim. And the Guns can keep the titles. I'm okay with it. And then they knew, okay, this might be seen as a weaker match. Who comes back? FTR. People went crazy for him. It worked. And Wardlow and Joe could have main evented Rampage. That they were in a tough spot. They were in the cool down spot. You're not getting over that trios match, man. You're not. Imagine going out there after Kenny Omega and them just did that. I'm like, we're dead. We're dead. Let's make it short and sweet. And that's what they did. I thought they did the best with what they had. We got dead airspace here. Dead air.
Jon Moxley and Adam Page.
What did they do to
They shouldn't be in the same ring with each other for another year.
I don't think you're gonna see
Wardlow makes me want to puke. I am so over that guy. Like that guy. Well, to get over somebody, you have to be on them in the front. I am done. He brought Samoa Joe down a level, and I am sick and tired. He brings the TNT title down a level. He is a low-budget Goldberg, and I don't even like Goldberg. Okay? You see, now you got me going. Now I'm getting mad because, first of all, the trios match was the only really good match of the night. The tag title match was trash. You understand me? The tag title match was trash. The world title match was okay. It was a B, but a B shouldn't be a main event of a main pay-per-view. It should be an A, okay? Should be an A. So the main event was a B. The tag title match was an F. You understand me? An F. The TNT title match was an F. That pay-per-view was mid, bro. That pay-per-view was mid. AEW has done better. I'm sure they will do better again in the future. But Revolution was a disappointment, Conrad. A disappointment. Man, like I said, Danielson and MJF, it was good. But that's a main event of one of your 4 pay-per-views. Damn it, you have 4 pay-per-views a year. I need A+ on the main event every single time. The tag title match was a disgrace. A disgrace. The trios match was amazing. No question about that. Absolutely amazing. The Page Moxley match was okay. It was okay. It wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't anything we haven't seen before. That pay-per-view was mid, bro. That pay-per-view was mid.
Wow.
Straight up, bro. Straight up. And Conrad, tell me in front of all these people, you know I love AEW. I am the biggest AEW supporter there is. Last night, they dropped the ball. Last night was not their best effort.
Wow. I really liked the show. Maybe I went in with super low expectations. I don't know. I liked it. Everything made sense to me why they made the moves that they move. And I think on Wednesday we're going to start seeing a build towards Double or Nothing with something different. Now, is the Owen Hart Cup going to be involved? We don't know yet. But I think those are things to plan out and see if we're going to have to look forward to them. But I think a lot of these feuds are dead now. I don't know if Christian's gone. There's rumors Christian's contract's finished. I don't know if that's true.
I'm gonna grade the entire show, bro, and I'm gonna go through it real fast. Starks, Jericho, B+. Jungle Boy, Christian, C. House of Black, Elite, A. Hayter, Baker, Soraya, C, with an A+ swerve at the end. Adam Page versus Moxley. It would have been an A if we hadn't seen it 47 times. That means it's a B-. Wardlow versus Joe, F. Guns versus Acclaim versus Lethal and Jarrett. First of all, Jarrett shouldn't have been in the match. As much as I respect Jeff Jarrett should not be in the match. And then you have Cassidy and Danhausen. I like them. Not supposed to be in that match. D. And then Bryan Danielson and MJF was a B. To me, that averages out to C+, B-, C-, somewhere in that range, bro. Somewhere in that range. Not impressed. Not impressed.
Ooh, we got some disagreements. Some do agree though.
I see Deanna. See, that's probably along the lines of what I would understand. She disagrees with me, but her expectations were low. So she disagrees because her expectations were low, and then they exceeded her low expectation. I can respect that.
See, here's the weird feedback that I keep hearing with AEW, and it keeps coming back to this. Sorry, I'm getting a little feedback on your end.
Okay.
From the speakers. But the weird thing with this is I heard people talk about Dynamite, and Dynamite was good for like 7 weeks straight. I don't know if you remember that, but it was like Dynamite's great. Then all of a sudden for 2 weeks, it was kind of and I'll admit it too. I felt the same way. But then all of a sudden I was like hearing, but there's no build to anything. And I'm like, so wait a minute. How were the shows good? What were they building to that if the shows were good? You get what I'm saying? Like if you care about the build, wouldn't the shows be bad then? So I was confused by all of this. So they lowered your expectations going into it. You're like, I don't know what they're going to do on this show. But then I thought they made all the right moves. You had Ricky Starks win because Jericho doesn't need the win. Also, Ricky Starks needs to get away from Jericho and the JAS. Danhausen and them being in the match, was it a little extra? Yeah, but Orange Cassidy's one of their top draws. If you guys
I like Orange Cassidy. Yes.
Well, I'm bringing up YouTube numbers, and I feel like they forced them in on this, and they could have put a different tag team in there, yes, but they were like, okay, we're giving it to Orange and Danhausen. Danhausen's not hurt by losing ever because he's that character, and the people love the character.
And by the way, Deanna really kind of agrees with me, but she's just saying it a different way, respectfully. She's saying that her expectations were low. So that's why the show, my expectations were high. So at the end of the day, we're kind of saying the same thing, respectfully. And it looks like McKinney, he may not be as passionate about as I am, but if there were, and I'm quoting you, Big Dog. Shout out to McKinney. If there were a few, I'm putting few in air quotes for those listening on audio, and I'm not saying it to be condescending or to joke on you. I'm saying it as a compliment, McKinney. If there were a few matches. Now, Conrad, I want you to follow me on this, Big Dog. McKinney, which I agree with, McKinney's saying there were a few matches that bring down the overall grade. Now, let's just stop and pause for a second. There were 8 matches on the pay-per-view. If there were a few matches that didn't live up to expectations, then what exactly are we disagreeing about? Not a daggone thing. The pay-per-view wasn't a, see, that's the thing. It wasn't a dud of a pay-per-view. It wasn't a dud. But for me to say that the pay-per-view didn't live up to expectations, I'm saying basically the same thing. It was a disappointing night to me.
I fall along the lines more with Deanna. I don't know who was in the review yesterday, but if you hear me and Derek talk about it, it sounds different than Sean. But I could see a pay-per-view like this being like that, because I think one thing that we'll all agree on, where some of the matches could have been built better. We had a lot of the same builds. Wardlow was hurt, and once again, I just want people to know there's another woman in the chat calling him War Daddy. The man is popular with the ladies. I'm telling you.
Okay, him being popular with the ladies, what's that supposed to mean to me?
I know you don't care, but we're talking about an audience of people. I know you don't care about what I don't care about that part, but the women who come in, they love him. I don't know what it is. At least people who watch me, they come in, they're like, oh yeah, War Daddy. Let me tell you.
Fair enough.
But he's got his fans. And Deanna's putting in there all the different things for the matches. I thought each match, if it landed and it was like a B plus, they found a way to take it over with an angle. Like I said, the tag match was one where I was like, no, I'm not feeling this one too much. The Guns win. You can hear a pin drop. They're kind of like those nails on a chalkboard type heels. You're like, okay, Billy taught them well. I get it. But then when it finally happens, you're like, yo, FTR's back. Let's go.
You can't do that, Conrad. You can't do that, bro. You cannot do that. You cannot talk about FTR as it relates to the delivery of the match. The match was trash.
But I put all that into one because they knew that beforehand that they were going to incorporate it. Okay. I guess it depends on how you see it when you're grading the match.
I get what you're saying.
I count it like if there's a promo after the match, I'm like, okay, what are we trying to tell here? Okay, I get it. That works. I thought each time they did something after or before, it enhanced the matches. I even thought the pre-show was better. With Renee Paquette and RJ City in different places interviewing people, like Renee's in the crowd, RJ's in the back, kind of by the doors where people are coming in.
They definitely took it up a notch for the pre-show. I agree.
It was much better than 4 people standing around making predictions about foolishness and just talking about whatever they wanted, laughing with their friends, yucking it up. I'm sorry.
But again, I just to bring this whole thing back home, I graded the show a C plus B minus. I didn't grade it a D. You know, I thought it was was it worth $49.99? I don't know. I don't know if it was worth $50.
I'll tell you off air. And I did pay for it, for the record, but I'll tell you off air.
Right.
I love Ricky Starks going over. The trios match was insane and done well. Yeah, they lost a lot of build too because of people couldn't get their visa issues. Kenny Omega, I'm sure that's why the Lucha Bros were missing. There were other factors within this, and maybe that's why you had to get another Hangman Mox match. You see, in my head, people are probably like, "Oh, you're making excuses," but I'm also being a realist. Imagine being Tony Khan. He talked after on the media scrum. I thought the media scrum wasn't the greatest either. But when they were talking, I was like, yo, this makes a lot of sense, bro. Like some of the things he was like, yeah, I wanted to do this, and this for 2 weeks, but I couldn't because I had other issues I had to deal with. Like you can book whatever you want, right, but real life's going to get in the way at the end of the day.
This is true. Just like your solid, accurate point about Jey Uso. You can't hitch your wagon to him because of the outside the ring issues.
Right, because what if a law changes and then that's a factor now? That's a problem for me.
You're 100% right.
That all that stuff changes the game. And I think Sean went in with high expectations. Listen, AEW's pay-per-views, I don't think I've given one. Did I give one a C? I did give one a C plus, I think. I think it was All Out 2020. I did not like that show too much. But most of the shows have been B plus, A minus range, I'll say. I'm not saying they're all classics each time. We've had a few of them, but they're not all classics. But there's a high level of expectation for them versus the E. When I go into WWE, bro, I have no expectations. I'm like,
that's a perfect segue. Last night had WWE on the marquee, I would have graded that show an A plus. Because I don't expect nothing from WWE. If last night was a WWE production and it played out the exact same way, I would have said that was an A show. But I expect more from AEW, bro. I just do.
Right. Deanna said that she was hoping that Paige / Saraya didn't get hurt in the match. I respect it. I like the Ruby swerve. Me too. It was weird. In reality, when you think of those things, though, it doesn't make sense. She threw them out the ring, and then she was like, gotcha. You know what I mean? But I get it. It was well done for wrestling. Now, Mox and Hangman give me a different take on it. I think they can back off of that match for now. Like Sean said, I'm kind of over it at this point. Moxley can go recharge his batteries. We don't even know what they're doing with Blackpool Combat Club. Those are the issues I have. Like, are Yuta and Claudio heels now, or is Brian in the BCC? Those are questions you need to answer. I think he needs writers or people who are going to help him fill in those little gaps. I think for AEW. Quill says Wardlow had to win the title storyline wise. Makes sense in regards to Will Hobbs based on their previous interaction. I thought Hobbs was going to win when they had that triple threat, truthfully. I see what they're doing with MJF, but him beating Danielson, not my call. Would have liked to seen an end of match beatdown. MJF walking away, yes. Matt Lopez loved the pre-show setup.
So do I.
So I have to watch a trash match to get an angle pop at the end.
There you go. There you go. I agree. That's exactly what I'm saying.
But we got Danhausen wrestling. I was okay with this. Well, you got the Acclaimed. I thought the rap was weak, but you got what you asked for with that. You got the rap. You got to see them in the ring. They protected their two top tag teams, the champs and the former champs within this. Jarrett and Lethal really don't need to be protected, but they didn't take the pin either. Danhausen's going to be fine because him and Orange aren't really a tag team all the time. I get it, and I don't think the match was trash. Was it the weakest match on the card? Sure, but the FTR being part of it was planned from the get-go. They knew what they were doing. It's a mediocre match, right? Don't. Okay, well, let's spice it up a little bit and get the people back up. They knew what they were doing. It was a WWE pre-show, and I like the difference. I think it was better than that. Juggernaut, I usually split the
pre-show was definitely a step up. It was.
Juggernaut said
the pre-show didn't do him any favors. You know why? Because the pre-show got me super hyped.
Oh, well, Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Bros, that was a good tag team.
Yeah.
It was kind of sad to me, too, when I was like, oh, he's watching two brothers tag with him, and he doesn't have his brother. But Mark Briscoe's so spiritual and has love for his brother that I think it lifted him up.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I loved about it. And it was a basic story. Heel manager. He gets thrown into the match. They cheat because of that. Oh, we're bad guys. Boo us. Yay. Then they came in and did what they did. Froggy Bo. And they get the win. I loved it. It was Wrestling 101. It was simple.
Facts.
Cool said the tag match had no business being a four-way anyway. If you wanted a better match, you would have just did the Guns versus the Acclaim. They knew what they were doing.
Right.
I promise you that. I will say, Sean, the tag title match of who was in it, they could have had better teams.
Yeah, true.
You guys are. I don't disagree with that.
I think, just to interject, I think what Conrad is saying is that they may have done the tag title match incorrectly on purpose because of the FTR return. But what I'm trying to say is what McKinney is saying, which is I didn't pay for that. I didn't pay for a 5-second pop because of FTR's return is awesome, but I was looking forward to that tag match. I wanted to see the Acclaim regain the belts, and even though the Acclaim didn't regain the belts, we talked about how it would make sense for the Guns to retain. That would have been fine, but it was dry, bro. It was dry.
Right? Derek was calling Brody King Captain Spaulding. If you've ever seen that Rob Zombie movie, knock it off, Derek. We got people calling John Cena Fruity Pebbles in the chat. What up, Rated? I kind of figured Ruby Soho would have ended up joining Saraya and Toni Storm due to her also being a WWE import. Yeah, 100%. I mean,
100%.
I would hope everybody saw that. Mox Hangman equals Jungle Boy Christian. Over it. But Christian has been out.
Deanna is not that much against me, bro. Deanna and me are on the same page more than even I think we're saying a lot of the same things, bro. Last night was kind of, I don't know.
Man, yeah, I guess it's split. Maybe it's split amongst the fans. I might have to put a poll out to see what people really thought of this. I say BCC on the verge of being heel. Wouldn't shock me if they turn Brian. Derek saying he has to disagree. I don't know with who, if it was with me, you, or someone in the chat. I would love to see Danhausen and Lethal comedy angle. I think Lethal should stay away from that. Lethal's in incredible shape, and you only got so much time to use him. So
True.
I don't think he needs to be doing that.
True.
If it was a WWE show, it would have cost $9.99. That price tag is hefty.
Right.
Mark Sterling, aka Jim Cornette Jr. look. Yeah, he did look like a little corny. Jocelyn, I love Orange and Danhausen, but the Butcher and Blade Top Flight or 80s tag team guys from Dark could have been in it. You could have put someone different in it. Like I said, I think they did it. They knew who's not going to be hurt by this pinfall. Orange and Danhausen. You needed a babyface team to take the pinfall. You don't want to beat Top Flight. I see it. I hear you guys on it. Listen, I was the most critical of the tag match. I was mad when Butcher and the Blade got eliminated and by Danhausen, and he didn't do anything in the match.
Right.
And the
that was wrong too. I agree. That was wrong.
Yo, Butcher and Blade should get pushed. I won't even get into that. That's probably some Buffalo bias, but she said, but I did enjoy it. So
okay. But see, again, before you move on to the next comment, I enjoyed it too. If I say something, listen, I averaged B's in high school. So to me, you know what I'm saying? If I'm saying it's a B-, when I brought home a B- on the test, I got ice cream. I don't know about you. You know,
I went to Catholic school, fam. That joint, your B- was probably a C in my school.
I went to Catholic school, bro. I went to private school. And I brought home a B.
Wait, what was the F for you?
Huh?
What was the F? What was like a failing grade?
D's in my house. I wasn't bringing no D's in my house.
No, but what was the equivalence though of an F?
70.
Like 75 for me, bro. Yo, imagine that, bro. I'm like, yo, I got a 77. I'm about to get crushed when I go home. Other kids would,
as long as it was
like, bro, you got a C, and I'm like, no, that's a D.
Well, as long as it was a B, something with a B, and behind my name, my parents were happy. But I gave the show a B-. I don't think that's a terrible grade. I just think that I don't know, man. Go ahead.
No, Deanna, I think she's agreeing with you more. It's starting to sound more like she might have been. She said I gave it a B. LOL. Okay. Last night, a lot of people were riding with us in the chat. Me and Derek were up in the like A- range. I thought it was really good.
Shout out to Derek. A- for Revolution.
Yes, I thought bro, you could have royally screwed this up by who you had win. Jericho wins. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? You're burying your younger talent by doing that. They didn't do that.
A-.
Yeah.
Did you see the Jungle Boy Christian match?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
You thought Christian and Jungle Boy was great?
Yes. I saw people saying, dare I say, Christian is way better than Edge at this point in their careers.
Oh my God in heaven! I don't know what you were watching last night, and if Derek feels the same way, I don't know what he was watching either.
I liked it.
That was not their best effort.
When Christian threw the dirt in his face, I was like, bro, that's what someone would really do in one of these fights. Like, bro, get out of here! I'm not messing with you. I'm about to beat you up.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought that they let people down last night, and a B- is not a horrible grade, but I think people were looking for A-. A-. Good Lord.
I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was up to almost great standards.
I don't think I've ever disagreed with you this vehemently. I've disagreed with you in the past,
fine.
But I've never disagreed with you this vehemently. I think I'm going to go out, my brother, and say, I think you are dead wrong. Like, an A-.
I think people are being too harsh on this. I think that AEW put their best foot forward with what they had. That's what they had. Listen, the next problem's about to be coming up, and I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to be insufferable with this CM Punk stuff. It's going to be bad on the Dynamite reviews. It's going to be fine. When Punk comes back, I want to hear all that same energy people had. The apology better be as loud as the disrespect when them ratings keep coming in and they're not good. And when Punk comes back, I don't want to hear nothing. He got chanted for last night. I heard people, let's shut this down right away. I don't want to hear his voice. He did nothing wrong. He aired grievances about people. He didn't talk about the whole locker room like they sucked. He said names. If I have a problem with you, I'm going to say your name. I'm not going to sit up here and be like, oh well, there were no subliminals. CM Punk doesn't pull punches. Was he a jerk that night? 100%. But when he comes back, I'm gonna let people know, and we're gonna see how the Elite manage things after this. We're gonna see if the Young Bucks are really as forgiving as they portray themselves to be.
Because all the combustible elements are going to be back in the same room again. So,
So what's going to happen? Is Punk going to change? Are they going to change? It's going to be interesting. And did Tony change? Did Tony learn anything from any of this?
Probably not.
We shall see. But Punk doesn't have someone back in his corner. Wait, what happened with Stokely versus Hook? That was on. Wait, was that Dynamite? No, Stokely got out of that match, didn't he? I think he picked a representative for it, or did that match happen? I don't remember now.
I don't
There was
remember it
something
happening.
about
I don't
Stokely.
remember it happening.
Yeah. Derek's upset that Deanna brought up Derek like a trios match, and that never happened. See? Conrad, I love that pocket sand reference. See? From Dale. That's what it was. Pocket sand. You didn't see that coming, did you, Jungle Boy? Warning, Vince McMahon is backstage at Raw. We're ending the show. That's it. Guys, thank you so much for being here. The look of disappointment on our faces due to Matt Lopez reporting that. I hope you're joking when I close this and end this.
I think he's being legitimately honest right now, and that's terrifying. Wow.
Jocelyn said I have to be on here when Punk comes back. You know I'm gonna be laughing in everybody's face. Remember that? He can never come back. He assaulted a worker. You're getting assaulted every time you're in the ring. I've heard 20 other people assault people in AEW. It's not that big a deal. People are making it a big deal. Let it go. It's over. You need him more than he needs you. It's the best type of money. It's the best relationship to have. Oh, you need me? Sure. What can I do for you? Yeah. So it's going to be funny. Vince McMahon backstage makes me not want to watch Raw right now. Like, I don't know. We're going to have to try to get through this. Sean, do you have anything you want to promote? You take us out of here because the Vince McMahon thing's got me upset. I don't even want to talk about it.
Too, man. Nothing special to promote. Just subscribe to Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. Subscribe to EPW. Check out the merch on both ends. You know what I'm saying? I got the Clash. If you're looking for Clash merch, I got the Clash merch on in my store as well. Yeah, man. The Vince McMahon thing brought me down, but yes. A minus forever. A minus.
Don't disrespect, bro. Don't disrespect.
I don't know. But anyway, for the brother Conrad Cushman, I am Sean Hubbard, and this is Clash of the Podcast. Next week, 6:05, same time, same channel. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, man. We are just really excited. It's WrestleMania season. Hopefully, WWE doesn't screw it up. But you know. If there's any good ideas out there, you know what that means. So, for that being said, EPW, Hubbard Wrestling Weekly, Clash of the Podcast. We're out of here. See you next week.